Good morning, gamers. Welcome to the Gamers Roast podcast. I'm your host, Joshua J. Alongside me, Wesley Lance.
Merry Christmas for the last time.
Woo!
But it's the week of Christmas, which is why I'm wearing my Christmas sweater.
I'm just wearing a shirt that I put on because I was on my way here and I was very late. I put it on before I left.
Superman.
But, you know. No, but yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, we got the
Oh yeah, I forgot
Christmas cookies because they go great with coffee.
They're probably like a week old, but
I don't know why you would eat it right now because it's going to be difficult to talk. So I guess I will start talking.
Fill in for me. It was also kind of stale.
Anyway, we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend this time with Christmas coming up. It's 2 days away. Can't believe that. It's gone by quick.
Yeah, I know. I feel like as I've gotten older, I haven't really actually been able to enjoy the Christmas season. Because, I don't know.
When you work at a church, it's usually
so
your busiest time of the year. So
I haven't gone anywhere but my apartment and work in like a month.
But it's still exciting. Everything that's coming up. We're going to be doing our, little spoiler alert, we're doing our 2021 year in review type of a thing today. Just kind of talking about all the games that have come. We're not going to talk about all the games that have come out, but we'll just mention quite a few of the games that came out.
It's a very special 5-hour-long Gamers Roast podcast.
No, can't do that. Can't tell. I'm still a little, I don't know, sinusy.
Yeah. We both picked a couple games that we wanted to note as being really good and not very good.
Yeah. But I'm excited for it. We got a lot coming up. But real quick, I got to mention it. Sunday night's game.
Yeah.
So so technically last Sunday night, since today's Thursday or whatever, Tom Brady lost to the New Orleans Saints, who had their coach gone, who are not playing with their starting quarterback because, you know, Drew Brees retired last year.
Okay.
Beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 9-0. I have Tom Brady on my fantasy team, and I'm trying to get into the playoffs.
That's all it took, Josh. You broke the man's spell by putting him on your fantasy team.
No, because he's done very good for me up until like last night.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought maybe you might have
I could have
fixed it.
But no,
you brought balance back to the force.
It wasn't even that the offenses played horrible. It was that the defenses played lights out, like crazy good. Like every time Tom Brady would hike the ball, no one would be open. He would just be looking like, I don't know what to do with this ball. So he just like kind of throw it at the dirt, and you're like, okay. And then with Taysom Hill, that was mainly their offense just kind of wasn't super great.
Yeah.
And then Tampa Bay's defense was amazing.
Wait,
but yeah,
Tampa Bay.
Buccaneers.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. But I will say that the Buccaneers had Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Leonard Fournette, which are the two top wide receivers and top running back, all out of the game. They all three got injured in the first, I think, quarter of the game.
Oof.
And then they were like, out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to be good. And it wasn't. They scored no points.
Oof.
And they've scored 30 points in their past 3 games each.
Wow.
Like over 30 points.
That's insane.
So yeah, I was shocked, but it was a great game. I was very, very impressed with the defenses on both sides. Anyway, just had to shout that out because it's fun to watch a great game because I never get to see those with the Bears. So coming up tonight, you got the 9-5 Titans versus the 8-6 49ers. And to be honest,
yes.
I don't know. I don't know a good prediction for this.
Okay, that's a first.
I mean,
normally you're able to come up with something.
Well, here, I'll start out with Christmas Day games because since those are happening, I'm going to throw those in there too.
Okay.
So, because those are Saturday games, which are not very common. So Christmas Day, we have the Packers 11-3 versus the 7-6 Browns. And then we have the 10-4 Cardinals, who lost to the Lions.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's a big oof.
Yeah, they were 10-3, and the Lions were like 12-1.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And
but now they're 2-12.
and 1.
Yay!
Something like that. So it's the 8 against the 8-6 Colts. But here's the thing. The Colts running back has been amazing this year. Like, Jonathan Taylor has played lights out. Like, he's their offense and defense. Like, he's everything. He's their team. That's it. He's the reason they're 8 wins. So, in light of the Cardinals getting murdered, not murdered. It was bad. It was pretty bad when they didn't just lose to the Lions. They lost to the Lions. I'm gonna say the Colts sneak by and take the Cardinals down again. I think the Cardinals are not as good as what everyone thought they were. So, yeah. And then the Packers obviously will destroy the Browns because Aaron Rodgers is a pain in my side and will never go away. I'm going to say Packers by 10-14 and the Colts by 3. And then for the Titans and 49ers, I'm just going to go ahead and go with the Titans by 7. I don't know. That's a toss-up to me.
Okay.
So, there's your football hit of the week. Nice little shot of football in there to start your day off. It's exactly how I love to start my day. And, now it's on to coffee.
Yay! The roast part of the roast part.
An actual double shot coffee.
The Starbies.
My wife really likes this kind, so I'm going to try it.
We're kind of basic again this week. Sorry, everybody.
It's been a crazy, crazy season. So once we start getting back into January, February time, I'll try to get more cooler coffees.
So Starbucks white chocolate double shot?
Yeah.
Fun fact, the very first actual coffee drink I ever tried was a white chocolate mocha from Starbucks.
Hey, nice.
Back when I was like 14 or 15.
First coffee I ever tried was just black when my grandma gave it to me when I was like 9 or 10.
I choked down a black coffee when I was in college because I was taking a nap and a friend brought me a cup of coffee to wake me up, and I didn't want to be rude, so I drank the whole thing, but it was disgusting.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I hated it when I was younger. But grandma was cool because she drank coffee and smoked cigarettes.
Cool.
At 10 years old, that's what I thought was cool with my grandma. Like, look at me, 10-year-old me. Woo! So, yeah, I'd wake up, I always ask for a cigarette and a cup of coffee because she lived with us for a while, and she'd be like, no on the cigarette, but sure, I'll give you coffee. So, it was great.
So this is probably not going to taste like that, hopefully. Ooh.
I really like it. It's very sweet, but I do really like it.
It's really sweet, but it's not overly sweet. Like, it's not sickeningly sweet. Like, if you're getting this, you know what you're getting into. You're buying a white chocolate iced Starbucks drink. But, like, it has a decent blend of the coffee and the sweetness. It tastes a lot like the caramel macchiato we got from Dunkin', actually.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's really good. If you're wanting coffee...
Pairing it with a sugar cookie is great.
Yeah, that's not really going to go well.
I like it. I do like it. I like pairing it with a sugar cookie.
If you want coffee, you're not going to like this. But as just a coffee drink, 7. I think an easy 7.
Yeah. So this is Christmas. White chocolate.
And what have we done?
Don't get me started on that song.
You've been singing that song for like 3 or 4 days.
And horrible versions of it. So...
Oh, yeah. No, terrible versions of it. You've been making up your own words, and it's awful.
I almost skipped over a lot of things.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, okay. So, Roast of the Week. Oh, this makes me sad because this game is incredible. But VideoGamesChronicle.com, Final Fantasy VII Remake called the worst AAA PC port in a long time. So the PC port of Final Fantasy VII Remake just came out. Final Fantasy VII Remake is an incredible game. If you've got a PlayStation at all and you haven't played it, you need to play it. It's an incredible game. But don't buy the PC port because Alexander Battaglia, he posted a tweet. He says, as I mentioned, I'm not covering Final Fantasy VII Remake, yet the stutters that happen as you immediately get in the game get in-game rendered graphics are just unacceptable. Anyone testing and playing this game on PC before release should surely realize that your cinematic game should not do that. He later, I'm just going to start quoting, quote, he would later tweet that the game featured, quote, incredible stutter, unquote, while the game is started in default mode, and that, quote, every effect was displayed for the first and accompanied by a long stutter, unquote. Another Digital Foundry journalist, John Linneman, corroborated the report, stating that, quote, the smooth presentation was central to this game's storytelling, and this version compromises it, unquote. I don't know. So what's weird about this to me is that Square Enix is a pretty competent company. Like, they made this game, and it's
Right.
incredible. I don't see how they could have botched such an important port. Like, getting it to PC gamers, those are your most critical audience. Like, you talk about people that obsess over specs and frame rates. It's the PC gamers. So how could you mess it up
In your
this badly?
face, PC.
Okay, this was not supposed to roast PC. This was supposed to roast Square Enix for messing that up so badly to the people that are going to notice the most. And I agree with him. Part of what makes this game so special is just how smooth it is. Like, it runs. I think it runs. It looks to me like it runs in almost 24 on PlayStation 4. It probably is 30, but it looks like it runs in a cinematic 24 FPS on PlayStation. And it just makes it feel like an interactive movie. And I know that term gets used a lot, but it actually does it in the best way possible because it makes me care about the characters, and the game is just really fun too. Like, the world is fun to explore. The combat's great. For them to completely botch it and charge $70 for it. I paid $30 because I got it on sale. And then it went on, free for PS Plus members like 2 months later, but whatever. They're charging $70, which actually I kind of thought that the $70 for next gen games was just like a thing, but apparently it's actually been pretty controversial that people are charging $70 for games. That was kind of, that's kind of where this article goes into it at the end. We'll link it in the description. I won't read all of it, but they were just talking about how, Phil Spencer, Xbox head, said, quote, as an industry, we can price things whatever we want to price them, and the customer will decide what the right price is for them, unquote, which, like, dude, that seems a little...
I mean,
I get what he's saying.
I mean, yes, $70 seems like a lot, but so did $60 when we moved up to 60, and it's just, I mean, things have to go up, okay, with the crap that is the U.S. economy. Things are going to go up. That's just how it works. Games cost more to make now because the dollar is worth less, and because games also, I mean, are better and bigger. And I mean, think about it. When you played a game on the PlayStation 2, you played it and you had a 500 megabit like storage space. So not that bad. You know what I mean? And you never had to buy another one usually, unless you had like 55 games. Now you have like terabyte hard drives that can only hold 10 games. I think Call of Duty Warzone is like 150 gigabytes right now.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Yeah. So, fun fact, I finally got a Series S. Yay! I have sort of upgraded. Like, it's not a Series X, but
it is there. It is.
Yeah, it is. It's there.
It's there.
So
You're there.
I also have Game Pass. I bought the 1 month for $1. So I downloaded, I think, like 5 games, and I've used 75% of my space. So I've had it for less than a week, and I'm almost out of space.
Yeah. So games are bigger too. I get that.
Yeah. Real quick about the price point, though. What's weird is, okay, yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine at Geeks Under Grace how I bought Secret of Evermore for the SNES for $30 at a used game store. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to it, but I want it. I've heard it's really good. And I was like, man, I better get to it eventually. It ran me $30. And he says, I remember when I was a kid seeing SNES games for $80 in Kmart and in $90s dollars. Like $80 in 1990 is like $90 now. So this is not even the most expensive games have ever been. And that's for SNES games.
Yeah.
So it really probably isn't as bad as we're all thinking it is.
It's not. Like I said, just they're going to charge what they're going to charge. But I will say the thing that sucks is the quality of most games has gone down. We were playing a little bit ago was Ghost Recon Wildlands. We've been hopping back into that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, I think a 2017, 2018.
It's pretty old. I remember playing it with you a while back.
Something like that. It's an older game, but it looks better than Battlefield 2042 that just came out. And it's like, I get that Battlefield can do more things like tornadoes and like all this other stuff. Like, cool. That's awesome that they have those like type of events happen. but make the graphics good, bro.
Not gonna lie, I hopped into Battlefield was one of the first things that I played on my Series S when I got it, because you get the 10-hour free trial. And I hopped in, and I was like, I don't know if this was worth it, because I looked at it, I was like, this doesn't look much better than my PS4. Like,
yeah, no, that's not a good one to go off of. But
the Matrix game, on the other hand, that actually was really cool.
There's a tech demo out for Unreal Engine 5. It's a Matrix demo. Hop in if you haven't hopped into it yet. It's free. You do a little bit of a shooter scene, quick time event, and then you get to free roam around the world a little bit. And it's great. I blocked traffic on the freeway and just let it sit there for about 25 minutes, and traffic kept getting blocked back because they didn't respawn. There was I think 32,000 pedestrians, and I forget how many cars in the world real time, not despawn, and as you get close they spawn. It was there, and that was what was so cool about the power, in my opinion. And so then you have this type of game that
Final Fantasy VII Remake. And there are some incredible games on PC. I'm not like Josh. I get why people switch to PC.
I like PC.
It is you can do some incredible stuff, which makes releases like this all the worse because they could have done better. Alex Battaglia closed. He was talking to Reset Era, and he said, "I humbly submit that no one should buy it." And then Reset Era said they wrote, quote, "This is literally the worst AAA release I've seen on PC in a good long time," unquote. Which is weird that it is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which has been praised up and down for its quality. I just don't understand how they could have messed it up so badly. Come on, guys, you had one job, which was to port an excellent game to a console that actually could run it better than anything, and you messed it up bad.
So are you saying in this instance console is better?
For Final Fantasy VII Remake, yes. If you want to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, you got to play it on PlayStation because the PC port just ain't good. If they fix the PC port, which, who knows if they will. But
that's kind of, I would say, the biggest roast of 2021. Not that game necessarily, but everything that game has, everything that port has become. And we'll talk about some games later on that I have in mind. But people, need games to release when they should. So Halo, for instance. They delayed that a year. And everyone was kind of like, oh, man. And when you saw the E3 trailer, you were like, oh, great. What are they doing? And then they delayed it. And we were all a little bit bummed. But then they came out with it. And it's fantastic. I mean, there are small things we want a few more maps, things like that. But that stuff's on its way.
I think the weird thing about Halo to me is I hate playing FPSs on my own. I just get so bored. I have played several, probably 4 or 5 matches. Well, I haven't played a ton. Probably 3 or 4 matches of Halo on my own, and I've had a great time.
Yeah, it's great.
Just by myself.
Halo's a great game. And on top of that, it's a free-to-play multiplayer experience. You have to buy the campaign or have Game Pass. But the multiplayer is free. The campaign looks amazing. I've played a little bit myself, watched some cutscenes because I really wanted to see to the end to see if my prediction came true. The ending broke my heart. But
I need to finish the campaign. Or start the campaign.
It's a great game. They knocked it out of the park. Again, there's going to be some things that not any game is actually going to be absolute perfect. Usually, there's a few gems that happen every once in a while. I would say it's an 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
For a Halo, for what Halo should be, this did it correct. But for most of the 2021 games have not been great, and I don't know if it's because they're trying to make it between generations.
It's probably a little bit of that. It's the fact. That things are weird with the pandemic still. So studios are being weird as far as work schedules. Probably a lot of people are still working from home. It's just been a weird year. And not to mention all of the supply shortages. And I know that's mostly for consoles, the microchips and that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's been a weird year for supply chains. It's been a weird year for labor shortages, all this stuff.
It's been a weird few years for everything.
So it's probably a combination of all of that. I would think probably the biggest thing is the fact that they're trying to make it between generations.
True. So, like I said, I feel yes, it sucks that the port to PC sucked, but welcome to the world of console. Just sometimes things just don't work. The games aren't great. The games aren't made great.
And that's the reason why I've always stuck with console. That and the price point, because getting a good PC is ridiculous. But I just like having a machine that I know will play the game. Like maybe it's not the best way to play it, but I know it will run.
Well, and that's why I harp so much on console. Is not necessarily that I hate PC. It's just if you want the most bang for your buck, get a $500 console over a $500 PC any day of the week.
Well, yes.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
to
get a good PC, you're going to have to drop well over $1,000.
Right. So the console, for the power that it has, phenomenal. Especially when you're talking Series X, PlayStation 5, even Series S, it just doesn't have the 4K, but it has all the capabilities of game mechanics that the X does. So, which is cool. I mean, Xbox is knocking it out of the park with some of the things that they're doing. With Halo, this new Xbox, like so far, if I was just to say right now who I think wins console this generation, it's Xbox. Xbox has taken the lead by far. We'll figure that out in the next 5-10 years, what really happens, but...
I told somebody last night that I bought a Series S, and his immediate reaction was, why? PlayStation is superior. And I was like, not really anymore. Like, they're essentially the same machine.
Yeah,
like, the specs aren't that different. And Xbox has Game Pass.
PlayStation 4 was better than Xbox
One.
One.
Oh, it was, yeah.
In my opinion, by far. And then 360 was better than the 3. And back when PlayStation 2 and the Xbox were there, it just kind of was new system and... You know,
I would probably still give the edge to the PS2 though. It's the best-selling video game.
Oh no, I'm not saying
time.
the Xbox outplayed it. I'm just saying like they were so different.
It wasn't really a rivalry at that point.
Right, they were kind of pretty much so different at that point. It was like, is Xbox gonna be this thing? You know, and it definitely is. The Dreamcast is no longer with us. Sad face. That was one of my favorite consoles, man. But. Let's hop into, actually, it's another thing I want you to talk about.
Yay!
Hades makes history as the first video game to win a Hugo Award.
This is so cool to me. So, if you're not familiar with the Hugo Awards, they are they started out as literature awards for fantasy and science fiction, and they've expanded over the years to include movies and that sort of thing. This was the first year they had a video game category, and Hades took it. Which I'll talk a little bit about Hades because it's on Game Pass. I've tried it. It's fantastic. It's really, really cool. So, quote, this is Gizmodo.com. Quote, last year, Supergiant Games' Hades, the roguelike inspired by Greek mythology about Hades' son Zagreus, escaping the underworld, released to near universal acclaim. If it wasn't praised for being an inviting step into the roguelike genre, it was praised for its characters and narrative. If it wasn't for that, it was for the music. You get the idea. Over a year later, and now on all the major consoles and PC, the game still has a sizable impact, and it'll surely grow again because it won a Hugo Award this weekend, and it is the first video game to do so. Every year, the Hugo Awards recognize the best, brightest literary works of science fiction and fantasy. In recent years, they've branched out to include categories such as Best Fanzine or Best Fancast, podcast or video series, basically. For 2021, the Best Video Game category was created after being floated around as an idea for years, according to the website's announcement back in 2020. Of course, it likely helped that a lot of people just had time to just play video games this past year. So, Hugo Awards celebrate fantasy and science fiction. Hades is about a Greek epic. It's really, really cool. I just think it's cool that it's getting recognized by such a prestigious award. Like, it's almost like a game winning an Oscar. Maybe not quite to that level, but the Hugo Awards are a big deal.
Right, and I mean, what surprises me, not surprises, but what intrigues me about them winning is they were going up against contenders like The Last of Us Part 2, Animal Crossing, New Horizons,
that still makes me
Final
laugh.
Fantasy VII Remake, but as we can tell with the port, it,
yeah,
maybe that affected it.
So, real quick note about those runners-up. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last of Us 2 make total sense. Science fiction, fantasy. I get it. Why is Animal Crossing on there? It is not fantasy.
They were looking to New Horizons, okay?
I guess. I don't understand why Animal Crossing was on there, but
I don't know.
It is a little surprising that Hades won out over Final Fantasy, but after playing it, I think I see why. Because it takes such a creative look at Greek mythology. Like, they characterize the gods and the shades and the heroes of Greek epics in their own way. The voice acting is phenomenal. There's just such a level of... So every time you get into a run, you will find you'll find a blessing from one of the Olympians. And you walk up to it, and Zagreus
Blessing
is like,
from the Lord.
yes. You walk up to it, you hit RB, Zagreus accepts it, and you get a little cutscene from one of the gods, and then they give you a blessing, which is basically an upgrade for that run. And every one of the gods has a distinct personality that matches the way that they would be in like Greek mythology. Like one of them was from Dionysus, who was the god of wine and madness. And he comes up and he's like, Zagreus, you got to get up here, man. We've saved you a spot. Here, I'll give you something to help your ride a little bit easier. And he like gives you, and all of his blessings have to do with like basically giving your enemies a hangover to give to give them damage. Like it's just stuff like that. The details are so good. It's really satisfying to play. I'm a little upset. Okay, this is going to make me seem like a jerk, but I made the mistake of mixing up roguelite and roguelike in a conversation one time. I thought they were interchangeable. They're not. Gizmodo uses the term roguelike. Technically, Hades is a roguelite because you can carry upgrades from run to run. A true roguelike, you start over when you die. In this one, you can upgrade Zagreus, you can unlock new weapons, that sort of thing. But it's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, give it a shot. If it's not your thing, it's not going to hurt you anything. But the great thing about roguelikes is you jump right in, you do a run, and you just keep going. So if you don't like it after 3 or 4 runs, you can uninstall it. That's what I'm loving about Game Pass is I don't know that I would have bought Hades myself, but now that I've tried it, I might actually, just so I can have it. Because this is something I could go back to a ton. But it's just really cool that it won a pretty prestigious award for its characterization. Like the art style is super cool. I love the way it imagines Tartarus and Hades. And the first boss, it's kind of interesting. The first boss is Megara, one of the Furies. And obviously you're fighting, but there's definitely sort of like a flirtation between her and Zagreus. So like it's and she's talking to you the whole fight. So like every time you go in, it feels different because he interacts with the characters differently. There's different cutscenes, there's different dialogue. They all have unique characters. They're not just like stock roguelike characters. It's just really, really cool.
I'll have to try it out. It sounds really, really interesting. It actually came in 4th and 5th on the year with a 93 on Metacritic.
I can see why.
It was 4th. I don't know how they necessarily decide what place, but anyway, 4th place was Xbox Series X. 5th place was PlayStation 5. So
they probably just put it there randomly because they're both scored the same.
Well, but here's the thing. Disco Asylum, the final cut, spoiler alert, 97 on Metacritic, top highest scoring game, but it was on PC. If you go down to where it was released on console, PlayStation 5, it was an 89 on PlayStation.
That's weird.
So, I'm just saying. So I guess that one is definitely a PC game for sure.
I guess.
But real quick, I just want to go. But I just thought that was cool that you were like they won the Hugo Award and was in 5th or 4th place on games overall.
So apparently, this award was created as a one-off. So we're not even sure if they're going to have it next year. I kind of hope that they do, though.
I think they will. I mean, they probably want to see how it was accepted and how people responded to this type of a thing. One thing I'm confused about, because on Metacritic, It Takes Two came in 14th place, but yet it won Game of the Year.
Metacritic?
No, the Game Awards, I believe. Gonna look that up real quick.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at I'm reading the comments and a lot of people are like, "Hey, why is Animal Crossing there?" Some people are saying Hades shouldn't have even been eligible because it was released in 2018. It was the
December
TGAs.
10th. The cooperative action adventure game It Takes Two took the big prize at Thursday's Game Awards, the industry annual end of the year celebration. As well as winning Game of the Year, It Takes Two was also honored as 2021's Best Multiplayer and Best Family Game.
Family game.
So
didn't it have a lot of language in it?
It Takes Two? It has some language in it, yeah, but honestly, it's a very, very cute game. Me and Carly were playing through it. We didn't get all the way through it yet, but
I want to play it with Michaela, but I need 2 controllers.
Yeah.
I don't have another controller.
It's a really, really fun game. And it's on Game Pass. That's
Yeah.
the thing that blows my mind about Game Pass, okay? You got all the I'm just gonna go with it. So we'll go with it like this. The game of the year is on Game Pass, by the way. So you have one game of the year top 10. I'm just reading the top 10 games. Disco Asylum, the final cut on PC, got 97.
You've said that twice. It's Disco Elysium.
I'm
sorry.
Thank you.
It's not Asylum.
No, you should have corrected me the first time.
I'm sorry.
2, The House of Fata Morgana. That got a 97 on Switch. Tetris Effect, Let's Go on Switch, 95. Hades is in 4th and 5th place with a 93 on PlayStation 5 and Xbox, which is on Game Pass. Forza Horizon 5 came in 6th place with a 92 on Game Pass. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker on PC got a 91.
How many times have they released Final Fantasy 14?
I have no idea.
I feel like there's been like 8 games called Final Fantasy 14. Anyway.
Psychonauts 2 got a 91. It's in 8th place on Game Pass. Forza Horizon 5 was on PC, got a 91, which is on Game Pass PC edition. Microsoft Flight Simulator got a 90 overall. It's in 10th place on the Series X. And I could just keep going on games that are in here that are on Game Pass, that are in the top 20 games. And it just blows my mind at how great Game Pass is. For the price, I'm just shocked. I'm just absolutely shocked that they're able to do something like this. Yeah, that was the top 10 games of 2021 according to Metacritic. Okay, I mean everyone has their own scores and everything like that, but that's what they're saying. I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So
all right, well, that's Hades winning a Hugo.
And that's the top 10 games of 2021.
According to Metacritic.
So, I think they have a good rating.
I mean, it takes everyone into account. So that's the thing about Metacritic is it can be good. If everybody gets it in their head that they hate a game regardless of how good it is, then it can be bad. But
that's the thing. According to the populace, that's your games. Games that came out throughout the year, I mean,
that list was insane, man.
There's way too many to talk.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if we can't go through that.
But I mean, just January, just to name a few, you got Hitman 3, you got Stronghold Warlords, The Sims 4 Paranormal Stuff Pack, which is kind of cool. I haven't checked that out, but I kind of want to. Then you got Madden coming to Stadia. Stadia is an interesting thing. Anyway, you got Control coming out in February.
I've been wanting to try Control. I've heard it's really, really good.
Wait, Haven? Is that what I'm thinking it is? Because Haven was on the PlayStation 2 and it sucked. Okay, totally not this. Yeah, I was gonna say Haven was like I hated
one of my least favorite games of this year is actually on this thing. So
the Neo Collection came out in February. Dude, I mean, there's so many games. It's insane. Yeah. Yakuza Like a Dragon came out in March. In April, you got Outriders coming out. Pac-Man 99 on the Switch. You got the director's cut of Borderlands 3, The Walking Dead Survivors.
This is just games that came out. We can't go through all of these.
I'm not going through all of them. I'm just kind of like hitting a few that came out in all these months. Like it's insane. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out in May, and it seems like it's been forever ago. Well, that was some of the DLC, but Mass Effect's Legendary Edition came out in May. Like all these games. I mean, Mario Super Golf came out, right? That came out this year. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword came out.
HD, yeah.
Psychonauts 2, Deathloop, Back for Blood. I mean, it's like Jurassic World Evolution, which actually is a pretty sweet game on PC. Halo Infinite, obviously. Yes, there's been a lot of crap games that have come out, a lot of crap ports that have happened, but games as a whole, we've gotten a crap ton this year.
Yeah, we
with
really
there
have.
being a pandemic the year prior and us still coming out with all of these games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's something for everybody. If
You
you
just
can't find a game to play this year, you're just not a gamer.
You just got to sort through it and find what works for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch out there that you can hop in, play whatever type like you want. Baldur's Gate came out in December. Among Us Crewmate Edition, December 21st. So hop on that, y'all.
You can get it for free. Don't buy it. Don't pay money for Among Us. It's free.
So, like I said, there's just a crap ton of games that have come out that I don't know. I'm shook at the amount of games that have come out that are actually decent games. I'm not saying they're all AAA. I'm just saying decent games have come out.
Yeah.
Now that being said,
there's a lot that weren't great.
yeah, there's some that have come out that were kind of like.
So this Kotaku article, I've never actually played any of the games that they talked about on this one.
Me neither.
I've heard of one of them. I had heard of Balan Wonderworld, but I haven't actually heard of. I hadn't heard of the rest of these.
I heard of the eFootball. eFootball 2022. It's a soccer game. They said, man, I have never seen a new installment of a long-running series so hated by fans and critics alike as Konami's eFootball 2022. It got a 25 score. 25
Yeesh.
on PC. So there have been some rough games that have come out.
I think, so the 5 that they mentioned were Of Bird and Cage, Taxi Chaos, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Earthblood. It's a very long name. Balan Wonderworld, and eFootball 2022. I think what makes me sad about Balan Wonderworld is it was actually directed by Yuji Naka, who was the man who created Sonic the Hedgehog. And he was like trying to recreate Nights into Dreams, which apparently a lot of people loved. I've never played it. And he was trying, but it ended up being like super boring and like just really, really bad. I know you're looking that up, but I don't think it came out this year, did it?
I don't think so. It's been, like I said, everything.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, no. Everything's been so like.
Takes two.
Everything's been so jumbled together for me for the past 2 years that it's hard to remember what was what. Yeah, it came out December 10th. So, in my opinion, close enough because it kind of was broken right away. And I thought maybe they'd fix it and they didn't. And it makes me sad. Like, they've gone practically silent for the past 7 months.
Yikes.
They were supposed to come out with the next gen upgrade, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of just one of those things that's gone under the. Like, it's just like it failed and they just were like, shh, and laid it to rest. And it's a real big bummer. Keanu Reeves came out and said he actually has never played the game.
Ooh, that is not breathtaking.
And no, it is not. But that's what happens, man. Some games be like that. But yeah, there's just, you said you had a few games you wanted to talk about specifically though, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think it would be interesting to talk about specifically the stuff that we liked because, you know, it's our podcast. So listen.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to give you some what all of you guys have decided were good or not good. And then we'll tell you what we think.
What's really interesting about my gaming tastes is I usually end up playing more indie games than AAA releases. I never buy new games, mainly because of the price point. I'm like, I don't know that I want to spend $70 for a game I may or may not like. So usually when we're talking about these big releases, I haven't played them. That's why I was excited to talk about Hades, because it was like one of the biggest releases that I've been able to play recently. But because of my position at Geeks Under Grace, I get to play a lot of weird indie games. And there have been a couple this year that have actually been really good. One of my favorites is called, did I mention Wildermyth on here?
I don't think so.
Wildermyth was a game I reviewed back in, I think, August. And it is a, imagine D&D / XCOM meets Paper Mario. And that's Wildermyth.
Oh my.
It is like a CRPG, but it's randomly generated, including the story. Like the story is like modular. So basically, World Walker Games, that's the studio that made it. They created different like nodes, story bits that can fit together, and the game just kind of picks them randomly. And every time it impacts your characters, sometimes they'll have a physical change. Sometimes they'll gain strength. Sometimes they'll be like maimed and they'll be, weaker. And it's all done in this pop-up book art style. You can create your own characters, backstories, and then the actual combat is more like XCOM, with like grid-based combat, turn-based combat, strategizing. And I loved the way it taught me to think like a strategist. I don't like strategy games. I'm not a strategy person. This game taught me to use strategy in a way that was so subtle and so well done. This is probably one of my favorite games of the year. I've been meaning to go back to it. I just haven't been able to quite yet. Oh, it's coming for Switch? Dude.
Yep.
I might have to pick it up for Switch because I got it for free for PC.
There's quite a few 5-star reviews that are like, great little D&D adventure that you can get in by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like super into D&D storytelling.
Its initial release date was November 13th, 2019.
What?
Yeah, it got delayed.
Why did I just now get to it?
No, it got delayed. I think the initial release date was supposed to be in 2019.
Yeah,
but then
it's a big game,
back.
and it's basically a husband and wife duo that made it. Anyway, if you haven't checked it out, it's really good. If you're like super into storytelling games or D&D, the story might not hit for you. It is kind of simple, but it didn't release till November of this year. Wait, hold it. No, I'm sorry. That was. When did it release? It released in June of this year. Sorry.
So, one of my favorite games this year, and I'm going to have you hop on it with me. It's on Game Pass.
Okay.
I believe it's still on Game Pass. Knockout City.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
I have that game for PS4 and I never played it.
It's like a first-person shooter, but dodgeball style. Like, there's different types of dodgeballs. You have a football, which is more of a sniper.
It's weird that it's called Knockout City because that just makes me think it's a fighting game.
Well, it is. I mean, you fight, you throw balls at each other's faces and like blow each other up. It's one of the most fun, like intense. I mean, you're over there, you're getting like almost mad sometimes because you're like, come on, you got to work together as a team, right? And you play dodgeball, and it is one of the coolest games. It's one of those. I think it's kind of took it by storm a little bit for the first few months, and then kind of slowly dies out to a niche audience. But it was a lot of fun, and I had no one to play with. But dude, I would lead my team to victories every time I played. I was the top scorer usually.
Huh?
I mean, it's one of those games where for me, I hopped in and just immediately understood what to do, and I was able to go do it. And that's rare for me. That's very rare for me to just hop in and me actually be able to tell everyone, no, I was really good at that. Like,
I want to try this game.
When I first hopped in, I was really good at that. So I'm not trying to brag. It's just I don't have those games. Like those games don't exist for me anymore. Especially being a father and a husband, I don't have a lot of time to really get good. But that game, I hopped in and was just immediately good. And I liked it.
That's something about. I think that's what really makes a game excellent for me is when it just clicks. And maybe it's a personal thing, but I think a lot of it goes into the game design of just making it easy to pick up. Again, that's why I liked Wildermyth so much. Is it just clicked in a way that no strategizing game has ever clicked for me. And it made it like taught me to play by its rules without being like, this is how you do this and this is how you do this. And I hate it when games are like, stops the game, press this button to do this move. And like you have to do it 5 times before you can move on. And it like hits you over the head with the tutorial. And games that just weave it into the gameplay, and that, I don't know. That's how Wildermyth did it. Sounds like that's what Knockout City does. I want to try it with you. There's so many games we need to play together.
What's another one you got?
Good one or bad one?
Let's do another good one.
Okay. Another surprisingly good one. I only got to play a preview for this. So when I played it, it wasn't officially released. It's a little indie game called Kiwi. It's adorable. So you play as, it's specifically meant to be, it's Keywe, like we. It's specifically supposed to be a 2-player game. You can play as 2 little Kiwi birds running a telegraph office in New Zealand.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute. You use your little butt to push the buttons. Like you jump up and go boop, and you push the buttons. There's like 3 main game modes. One of them where you're transcribing messages. One of them where you're delivering packages, and another one where you're trying to keep an army of cassowaries from having a conniption. I played it with a friend at Geeks Under Grace. It was so much fun. It was a blast, and it's getting officially. I think it's officially released now. I think it's a little bit of nothing. So it's definitely worth a pickup. And, it's not game of the year territory, honestly, but it's just fun. Like, it's a fun, cute little game that you can pick up and have a blast with friends. Any game that you can play with friends, I think, goes high. And I just had a lot of fun with it. It's addicting in the sense that you're always optimizing your strategy. Every time you go into a run, you're like, okay, we can do this a little bit better. You're coordinating with your partner to see how you can do it better. It's a fun game. Oh, hey, look, the Game of Life 2 made it onto the worst games of 2021. I should have remembered that because I reviewed that one too.
See, that seems like it'd be so fun, though.
It's not.
Why?
Michaela loves it. Okay, well, I'll get into it if you want to. Do you want me to tell you why it's bad?
I want to play it.
Okay, you know
why
what?
should I not play this game? I like certain board games that are put into 3D and on a screen for me to play. Like, to me, that's fun.
It somehow is less fun than the actual Game of Life.
Well, then there's still a lot of room to play for fun.
No, there's no strategy to it. It's all like random based, and you don't ever get to make any decisions that mean anything. Here, this is my bottom line. I wrote a review of this, and maybe we should link it in the description. I don't know. Selfless promo. My bottom line is the Game of Life 2 fails to build meaningfully upon a classic title, instead opting for superfluous DLC and an inflated price point, making for a final product that feels, ironically enough, lifeless and bland. I played 3 or 4 games of this with my family, so I was playing with other people, and it really just felt like we were passing the controller around to press A, spin, and see what happened. Like, there's no strategy to it. There's no decisions you're making. You can sort of decide. So the way the game works is you get points at the end of the game for having the most, there's 3 categories. There's wealth, happiness, and knowledge. And if you have the most of any of those, you get 400 extra bonus points. And so you can choose to prioritize a specific category to win a couple extra bonus points at the end. Because the only decisions you have to make are, do you want to do, you'll land on a thing and it'll be do you want to start a video game stream or do you want to go back to college? And the video game stream gives you happiness points and the college gives you knowledge points. And that's the only decision you have to make. And buying a house and that sort of thing.
Getting married, having kids, buying a house, you don't get to choose a path of where you go left or right.
You can choose left or right, but they're the same. There's no difference between any of them. They're just different spaces.
But isn't there? So what's the difference between a regular? Because the actual life board, you go a different way, and you might end up landing on have 2 kids. But then the other way, you might land on change careers or
there's none of those dynamic spaces really aren't anywhere to be seen. They're on the board, but I felt I never got them. That said, Michaela loves this game. She wants to play it every time we go over to our parents' house, my parents' house.
Did she win a lot?
No, she just likes it.
Huh?
She's just I think it's because
it looks fun to me.
This is gonna sound like a roast on Michaela. It's not. It's a very simple game, and she likes games that she doesn't play games. She hasn't grown up. So her trying to, sometimes has a hard time getting into it. So it is really good for intro games. If you got somebody who doesn't play games and you want something to share with them, it's fine. I would recommend getting the mobile version. The mobile version is $3. I would pay $3 for it to have a good time with friends. But I think the Switch version, I talked about the price in it. Yeah. The Steam version is $10, but that only includes 1 board. Every additional board is $6.
Dang.
Yeah. So you're going to end up, so here, this is I'm just going to read my review because I've already talked about this. We come to the price, and this is what puts it over the edge for me. The Steam version is $10. Not bad until you realize that that price only includes the main board with every other board hidden behind paid DLC for $5.99 each. $10 for a 20-minute experience that once you've played once, you've basically played for good. The Switch version is $30, but comes with only 2 more boards with no other content. That's way too steep a jump for such a shallow experience. To me, the 2 additional boards aren't worth $20 over the PC release since they don't actually change anything because they're just cosmetic changes. They don't actually change the gameplay.
Well, that's dumb.
And then once you're in the game gives you an ad for a season pass, which for an additional $20 or $25 if you're on PC, will give you access to all future DLC, which will amount to 10 boards, 40 vehicles, 60 avatars, and 60 outfits. That sounds like a lot, but remember, it's all cosmetic. By the time this additional content releases, I'll be done with the game and not particularly keen to go back. None of the DLC changes the gameplay. It doesn't make it any more fun. It just changes the way it looks. And that's $50 total.
That's dumb. Just go buy the board game.
Just go buy the board game.
That makes me sad because I really wanted to enjoy it.
It's not good.
Bummer.
It's bad. Sorry, didn't mean to get into that.
No,
Sorry, I
you're
got really
good.
passionate. It's a bad game.
Well,
I give it a 5 out of 10.
I'm going to talk about another good game then and make it fun. Another game that I really ended up liking this year was the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I kind of missed out on the whole Mass Effect thing. I didn't hop in when I could have. And so with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, it gave me a chance to go back in. So I was able to go back in, play some of the Mass Effect games, and make some of the cool decisions that I've always heard people talk about. And it was a lot of fun. Like, they did it right. They did a Legendary Edition, in my opinion, the right way. Up the graphics, a lot of just enhance the main experience without really
taking away from it.
Exactly. I mean, the controls were still a little wonky on the first one because they just are. But I mean, I don't know. It was nice to go back and play, and everyone seemed to have a great time with it. I hopped into it because I wanted to play it, and I had a blast. So one game I wish I could have got to, I haven't gotten into it, and I really want to, is Ratchet & Clank's Rift Apart.
I have never played a Ratchet. I've played a little bit of All for One. I played a little bit of Full Frontal Assault, and then I got a little bit into the remake that PlayStation made free last year, or this year, I think. They made it free as part of their Play at Home series. So those are the only Ratchet & Clank games I've ever played, but I've heard they're really good.
Yeah, I really, really, really want to get into that game. I don't know. There's just so many games. I'm telling you, try and do a 2021 review. We could technically go on for a few hours.
I know. I didn't get to rant about any of my least favorite games of this year.
Well, maybe we can rant about we could do a 2021 sucks when we're in 2022.
Well, one of them was The Good Life, which I kind of already ranted about. So
that's true. Just read them off real quick.
Okay, so my favorites were Wildermyth, Kiwi, Pokemon Snap. I'm sure there were more. I had a hard time remembering all of the games that I played. New Pokemon Snap was pretty fun. But my least favorites were The Good Life, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, Disjunction, and then the Game of Life 2. And can I talk about Disjunction really quickly?
Yeah,
because
go for it. I mean, we got a few seconds.
That one I won't rant on because I actually really wanted it to be good. It looks fantastic. The pixel art is really, really good, but it just plays so boring. It's like an 8-hour campaign and it never changes. It never it has an upgrade tree, but none of the upgrades actually give you new moves. It just makes you run a little faster or hit a little harder. You unlock all of your moves from the start and the missions are always the same. It's just get to the end without being detected every time. There's no variety in it. There's no variety in the sprite, the enemy sprites. There's no variety in the maps you play in. And then whenever you crouch to see it's like a Metal Gear game. So you can see the vision cones of the enemies. You crouch to see them. When I did that, I was playing it on PS4. It dropped down to 10 to 12 frames a second. It started stuttering like crazy. It was so slow. The performance was bad. It looks phenomenal. And I actually feel like they would have been better off making it a visual novel or something and just telling because the story is good and the art is fantastic, but the gameplay just doesn't hold up. And it was really disappointing. Well, I really wanted it to be much better than it was.
I hate when you get a game that you want to be good and it's not. Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Although I did actually have a good time with that game.
Oh, wow. We've been going for a very long time.
Yeah. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this 2021 in review partial type show because
it was a little spastic. Sorry.
Well, there's just so much to go over and trying to hit it all is just very difficult within an hour time limit. So
also, sorry, I want to apologize if anyone's in the UK. That's spastic is a bad word in the UK. It's not here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if anybody's in the UK, but I apologize.
Is it up there with bloody and stuff like that?
It's used as a prerogative for people with learning disabilities.
Oh.
So, yeah. Huh. I shouldn't have said that, but I don't know that we have any listeners in the UK, but I apologize.
If we do, we're American. We don't know. No, but we hope you guys have had a wonderful time listening to us just ramble on about games and everything. We just enjoy doing it. Hope you guys enjoy listening. Yeah, Christmas. Christmas is here. 'Tis the season. You know what I mean? So we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope you guys have a great Christmas with family and friends. Play lots of games, drink lots of coffee, eat lots of Christmas cookies.
Not too many. No, go ahead.
Go for
it. Eat
it.
too many.
It's
It's
Christmas.
the most wonderful time of
Heck,
the year.
next time we're here, is it going to be 2021? I believe it'll be.
I think we have
2022.
we have
Gosh.
one more episode. I think. Wait,
Are we gonna record
will it be
that?
released? Hold it. Yeah, we got one more episode. We got the 30th. This is December 23rd, and then the next one will release on the 30th.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, one more time before the year ends. I don't know if you'll be here for that.
I'll be here for that one. So, I guess we're just going to talk about it. So, we record a little bit in advance. The 30th is the day I'm getting my wisdom teeth out. So, I will be incapacitated probably for the episode after that. But we'll record before that. So, while you guys are listening to next week's episode, I will be probably incapacitated. Yeah,
Fun.
I'm not looking forward to it. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to get into that. I don't know why we're getting into that. But I'll be here for next week. Probably not the week after.
All right. Well, I guess we got one more before the year's over, so I won't say have a good year. But yeah, hope you guys have a great Christmas, great weekend. Do all the things I'd mentioned earlier.
Merry Christmas, you
And-
filthy animal.
We'll see you guys next time.